Hello, my name is Eric and I'm doing another one of my photography vlogs called One Body, One Lens, One Roll, One Day. It is a kind of warm June morning. It's overcast, so hopefully the sun comes out, but if not, that is, can't fight Mother Nature. I am once again at Plum Creek North, park between Medina and Brunswick. I've shot here a couple of times. It's kind of on my way to work, so I figured I'd swing by here and do this episode. Today's camera is a Pentax Super program, another one of the ME style bodies. I shot an ME Super a couple episodes ago. Today's lens is a Pentax Takumar 50mm 1.4. Now, Takumar lenses are typically, or the Pentax Takumar lenses are typically screw mounted. You saw me unscrew that. This is actually a bayonet K-mount body, so I have a little adapter ring that you either put on the lens first or put on the body first, and it changes between the K-mount and the M42 screw mount. Screw that on there. There we go. Now there's the actual Pentax mount adapter, which I like. It's like a heavier weight aluminum. I've seen some generic ones and even one or two 3D printed ones. Okay, maybe, but I've seen them cross thread or break. So, spend a couple of extra bucks, find the actual Pentax one. Maybe 30 to 50 bucks on eBay. That way you can use the old screw mount stuff. Today's film is some Ilford HP5. I've shot some of this stuff before, I think a couple episodes ago. Gonna load it up and get some shots. Be right back. All right, so all loaded up. The Super program does have a manual mode, a flash sync at 125 bulb mode, and auto mode. Now, normally you would need a K-mount SMC A type lens, which would have an auto aperture diaphragm, so the camera can control the aperture. If you're going to do auto, this lens does not have that. Actually, it does have a switch that either the aperture stays open and it's only stops on as you take the photo, but it also has a manual switch where as I turn my aperturing, it actually stops down the aperture blades. The nice thing about that is this camera can read those stop down aperture blades and give me more like an aperture priority, even though I'm not full, like full auto. So kind of pointing, at f/16 with this 400 speed film, I'm getting about a 30th of a second, or at a quarter, f1.4, I'm getting like a 1,000th of a second. So it's stopping down fully. Oh wait, you know what? My exposure comp set for 2 times. Let me tweak that just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm back to base 0 on the exposure comp. All right, so adjust those by 1 stop. All right, I'm going to get some shots and then be right back. Okay, so the lens I'm using is a Pentax Takumar. This is a Super Takumar 50mm 1.4. And these guys are a little notorious for having a radiated element. A little bit of thorium was used during the manufacturing of the lens. Now, it's generally safe for photographers to be using these lenses, as you're not exposed to a high enough dosage for a long enough time. But during the manufacturing process, I guess there was some issues. Now, mine's just starting to show the effect, and what happens is the coatings seem to be turning yellow. And that could add a little bit of a difference when you're shooting. Most cases your shutter speed is going to be fast enough, it's nothing's going to register, or if you're shooting digital, in a slight tweak, your auto white balance will kind of knock it out. But some people have reported with longer exposures you can get a slight color shift or something like that to happen. So depends on how yellow yours is, and I guess there's a couple ways to get rid of it. I want to say you basically throw it under a particular type of light, for about a day or two. It's either like, put it out in the sun for a bit and that'll help get rid of the color tint, or maybe fluorescent lights. I'd have to do some checking on that. All right, I'm going to go down the path a bit and get some shots. Be right back. Okay, as I've probably mentioned before, make sure you carry spare batteries with you. The camera I'm using to record this, battery was weak. I had a spare. And at the same time, my microphone transmitter was low on batteries. I had to flip some AA's in there. So have spare batteries with you when you go out on your little excursions. Now this camera uses a little button cell battery called a SR44, LR44, or S76. There's a couple names for the same battery. Typically uses two of them stacked on top of one another. A lot of Pentaxes, Minoltas, Nikons back in the day all use the same battery. Some other brands did as well. You can also use a lithium CR1/3. Typically they're going to be about the same price, and typically they'll last you about the same amount of lifespan. I usually tell people 40 to 50 rolls of film, or if you're shooting once a week, maybe once a year, have someone throw it in your stocking for Christmas, or a little birthday present from a niece or nephew or something like that. So they're just spending a couple bucks. All right, I'm gonna get some more shots. And oh yeah, watch out for wildlife. I did see a snake. He kind of skidded away. I didn't have time enough to grab it with my camera because I was kind of moving to a new position. But yeah, watch for snakes, watch for poison ivy or stuff like that if you're out walking around a trail that you're not familiar with. All right, let me get some more shots. Okay, if you're shooting an autofocus camera, the way they sped up autofocus to make it really fast is the focus throw on the lens, so from minimum to maximum, was actually pretty short. Some of them are about 1/8 of a spin from like high noon to like a 2 o'clock on a clock. I mean, it's really short, but boy did it make that autofocus go fast. Problem is, if you're trying to manual focus that same lens, it was really hard to kind of pinpoint your manual focus. This particular lens actually has a pretty long focus, so almost a full half spin around the barrel of the lens, which allows me to fine-tune my focus, but I've got to spin 1 or 2 times just to find where I'm at. Now the other cool thing is if you are doing video, longer focus throws helps you drift and follow a subject a little bit better. So some people like these old manual lenses because of that longer throw. All right, I'm gonna walk down the path and get some more shots. Okay, I've hit the end of my row. Old manual camera, button on the bottom. Most cases, there's a few other places, but this one's button on the bottom. Push and hold, rewind, crank, rewind it. Usually takes about as many spins as you had shots. So this is a roll of 36, so 35 to 40 spins, and whoops, and it'll let go. And then there it lets go, and now it's real easy. Okay, pop it open. There's my film. And feel free to subscribe to get alerts for new episodes. Feel free to like the video. The photos will be posted at the end, so if you see some good results, feel free to comment. Give me suggestions for some other film. I've got some weird stuff coming, but that's future episode stuff. I gotta find a couple more cameras. Again, today's camera was the Pentax Super Program with a K2M42 screw mount adapter by Pentax. And then the irradiated Pentax 50-1.4 Super Takumar, a little bit of a yellowing because of thorium radiation during production. And then a normal roll of Ilford HP5 black and white. In date, I didn't make any corrections, or maybe a year expired, so I didn't make any corrections. All right, thanks for watching. New episodes tend to come out about every Friday, maybe every Saturday. We'll throw some extra ones in there every now and then. We'll see you next episode.